watching KSL News at 4.
Welcome back to Foothills of Salt Lake City are about to become safer. Rocky Mountain Power doing some work here to reduce the impacts of wildfire when it comes to some of their high voltage transmission lines.
News specialist Alex Cabrero is following this story this evening and says doing that work will require some trail closures.
Yeah, these trails are in the Upper Avenues area. The work being done involves taking down these old wooden power poles and installing new metal power poles. Workers need room to put those poles in, and because of the heavy machinery involved, Salt Lake City figured it would be best to close the Bonneville Shoreline Trail East City Creek Trail from Bonneville Boulevard to the I Street Bike Park, the 19th Avenue Bike Trail, and the 18th Avenue Trailhead parking lot. Now, there could be some other access points in the areas affected. The whole idea behind this project is to try and keep any spark from happening in the dry vegetation, especially during severe wind, where the old wooden poles could possibly break, sending those high power lines to the ground.
I think we're all aware that we've seen utility cost fires in other places around the U.S., and really it is to just reduce the risk of wildfire and wildfire starts.
The trail closures begin this weekend and could last through the end of December, but there's one part of the project people we spoke with who visit these trails are worried about, and it deals with what the area is going to look like after all the work. We will get into that part of the story, as well as what Rocky Mountain Power is doing about it, coming up tonight in our 6 o'clock newscast. In Salt Lake City, Alex Cabrero, KSL 5 News.
All right, Alex, we'll see you with that at 6. Devin joining us.
In order to go from these old wooden power poles to those new metal ones, some trails in the Avenue section of Salt Lake City need to be temporarily closed. We'll tell you where and what this project is all about coming up.
All right, looking forward to that. Thank you, Alex. From the community. And some popular hiking trails closed through the end of the year. We've got a closer look at the project.
And really it is to just reduce the risk of wildfire and wildfire starts.
KSL News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a former Utah youth football coach now in jail, arrested on child sex charges. We're also learning before these latest charges here, he had a lengthy criminal history and passed a background check to actually coach.
The league he coached for is now responding. News specialist Brian Carlson is live at the Salt Lake County Jail with what the league is saying tonight. Brian?
Well, Mike and Deanie, they say they knew about his prior criminal history. And despite what it says about their requirements posted on the Little League website, they say he was good to coach. Now, they did remove him mid-season once they learned about the allegations that landed him here in jail. You see by the coaching badge and other photos posted on 48-year-old Jeffrey Alsup's public Facebook page, he coached part of the season in Murray for the Ute Conference, Utah Youth Football League. Last week, West Valley Police arrested Alsup on charges of progressively sexually abusing a teenage girl over the last 3 years at multiple locations, including inside his home and his work in Murray. Prosecutors now charging him with 18 felonies of forcible sex abuse.
We absolutely think he's an ongoing risk, and that's why we asked for a no bail hold.
Learning about the allegations, the Ute Conference removed Alsup as coach. But before then, he also has a lengthy criminal history with drugs, a car break-in, joyriding, attempted possession of forger writing device, among other felonies and misdemeanors from 1995 to 2005. Some charges dismissed, but others he pled guilty to, like illegal possession of a controlled substance in 1999. When I talked to Ute Conference Executive Director Jeff Gornich over the phone about the charges, he says Alsup passed their background check despite what the Ute Conference policy says to disqualify a coach, including, quote, if I have any conviction, including a guilty plea, etc., for drug or alcohol-related offenses, excluding Class B or C DUI convictions, irrespective of the date or whether the conviction was for a felony or misdemeanor. When I asked the director about Alsup's charges, he told me, quote, the charges go back over 10 years. We give people second chances. And our attorney says, quote, we did everything perfectly. When I asked if he had a message for parents about Alsup, he said, no, they should be thanking me that he was removed swiftly. Now, prosecutors haven't connected any children he coached to that alleged abuse, but they're not ruling that out. So they are encouraging any potential victims to come forward. Live here at the Salt Lake County Jail, Brian Carlson, KSL 5 News. Back to you.
All right, Brian, thank you. Our team alerted you to
Utah County.
Winter is just about a month away, but Salt Lake City is already thinking about wildfires and how to prevent them. So a project happening in the foothills of the avenues will require some popular trails to be closed. News specialist Alex Cabrero visited the spot to see the work that's underway and why.
If dogs could speak English, Jeff Corsi knows where his pup Asa would tell him where to go for a walk.
He loves being here.
The I Street Bike Park area in the avenues is a popular spot for dogs and humans to get some exercise.
He has got long legs and he's a runner.
But starting this weekend, many of the trails here will be temporarily closed to help prevent wildfires.
Understood that can help with wildfires, and I think it's a good idea.
Rocky Mountain Power is taking down old wooden poles and putting up new metal poles. The whole idea is those wooden poles could break apart during a windstorm. And since these lines are high voltage transmission lines, if one of them touches the dry vegetation, it could spark a wildfire.
I think we're all aware that we've seen utility cost fires in other places around the U.S., and really it is to just reduce the risk of wildfire and wildfire starts.
The trail closures are because of the heavy machinery needed to do the work.
Part of the issue is on some of these ridge lines, you've got the big equipment. If they're coming up over a hillside, they can't see what's going to be in front of them necessarily all the time. And so we just want to make sure everybody's as safe as we can be.
Rocky Mountain Power and the city also promised to reseed and revegetate areas where roads and such have to be dug out for the project.
Put it back the way it was.
Not just for how it looks, but for Asa and others to get their favorite places back.
Hopefully they'll do a good job in that respect.
Now the closures begin this weekend with this project, and it could go through the end of December. If you are someone who visits this area often to go recreating, mountain bike, walk your dog, anything like that, the city has put out detailed information on detours and such. We will put that information on our website version of this story, KSL-TV.com. In Salt Lake City, Alex Cabrero, KSL 5 News.
Alex, thank you. The love for the outdoors here.